Howdy there, Internet students. This is Mr. Hermanson here, helping you with the 6.3e extra practice for retakes. This is about absolute value. The first problem here, we want to know which equation has no solution. And one thing we know, you can write these notes down here, if the absolute value of x is a positive number, so like say 3, then there will be 2 solutions. If the absolute value of x equals 0, there will be 1 solution. And if the absolute value of x is equal to a negative number, then there's no solution, because remember that the absolute value turns negative numbers into positive numbers and leaves positive numbers positive, so there's absolutely no way to get a negative solution from an absolute value. So if we look at A, B, C, and D, on A, we can see that we want the absolute value to equal a positive number. That one will have a solution. In fact, it will have 2 solutions. Here, remember that you want to get rid of any junk outside the absolute value before you make any decision on it. So I would add 9 to both sides. And then I would change this into the absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to 5. And now we can see that that's a positive number, so there's 2 solutions there. Okay, on this one, on D, if I divide both sides by -2 to get rid of the junk outside, then I get the absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to 7. So that's a positive. That one has 2 solutions. So it must be C, and we can see that if I get rid of the junk on the outside there, the plus 6, and then I get a new absolute value equation. -4 minus 6 is -10. Right there's the deal. No matter what goes into this absolute value right there, it's going to come out positive. So C is the one with no solution. All right, the next problem I'm going to help you with here is what are our solutions to the equation, the absolute value of 2x equals 14. Now we define the absolute value as the distance from 0. So think about on a number line, 0, 14 units away from 0 can happen in 2 places, both at -14 and at 14. And so that means that my 2x could equal 14, because the absolute value of 14 is 14. So that means x could equal 7. Also, 2x could equal -14, because the absolute value is going to make, if I put -14 into that absolute value there, it's going to come out positive 14. So making that thing inside the absolute value -14 will work. So if I divide both sides by 2, I get -7 is also a solution. So there's 2 solutions here. Okay, on number 3, we want to know what are the solutions of this equation. Okay, so remember that in order to start making decisions about what values of x can go in there, you don't want to have any junk outside that. So we're going to get rid of this 18 first, add 18 to both sides. So that gives me the absolute value of x plus 5 equals 14 plus 18 is 32. Now I can think about what this value could be. Now remember that it could be 32, because the absolute value of 32 is 32. X plus 5 could also be -32, because the absolute value of -32 is positive 32. So on this one, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I get 27. On this one, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I get -37 for my solution. All right, and one more problem here. How do you graph these equations? Well, to graph an equation, you kind of need to know some points that will make it true. And just to kind of give you a general idea of what these equations look like, we're going to make a graph of it on our calculator. And to get the absolute value on the calculator, you're going to press Math, arrow over to Number, and then choose number 1. And then I'm going to put x plus 5 in there. And just to quickly see what the graph is, I'm going to press the graph button, and you can see that there's a V shape to this graph. Now, to help me know where this V is, that's the important part. Once you know where that V is, then the patterns will be the same. So that I can graph this accurately, I'm going to go to my table, which is second and then graph. And as you scroll down these numbers, you will notice that the numbers keep getting smaller until 0. And then they start going up again. So I'm going to plot the points right around here, -5, 0. That's going to mean where the bottom of the V is, kind of the vertex of that. So, I'm going to plot the points -7, 2, -6, 1, -5, 0, -4, 1, and so on. So I'll just put those in. -7, 2, -6, 1, -5, 0, -4, 1, and -3, 2. I'll just plot all of those points. -7, 2 is right there. -6, 1 is right there. -5, 0, -4, 1, and so on. And once you see this pattern, you know that it's going to keep going up at that same rate in both directions. You can draw the lines, and that's what the graph looks like. All right, so go ahead and finish those up, and good luck on your retake.